So why is it important for Muslims to buy a house?
طيب, a number of things. As I say to people, I'm talking from experience. I've been here for 40 years, and I have moved from one place to another, to another, to another. The problem here, number one, is that when people come here, أول حاجة they need to be stable. يعني أنت for you to be in a place where you can sit, you have to have a house. People who go for rent, there's so many problems in it. One, you will not find what you want where you want. It depends on the market, what we call demand and supply that's in the marketplace. Two, people tie themselves, especially if you have families and so on. Start with children, you have school, you have this, you have that, you have that. So all of these are related to what you need to do. So the first thing is you need a place to be stable. You will not find this in rent, no questions about it. Two, that the amount of money that you pay in rent, depending on the family that you have. Yani I know, like yesterday I was talking to one of the sisters. She said she's renting an apartment, one-bedroom apartment, in a place where there's so many doctors and physicians and so on, for $2,300 per month, a one-bedroom apartment. Right? Now, this is a sister, maybe it was her husband. If you have a child, then you have 2 bedrooms and so on.
Sometimes they have restriction. You cannot even...
I'm coming to you. And this is all is there. Not only this, people like me, alhamdulillah, now we have no problem having children. I had 8 children at one time. I mean, if you go and rent a place, first you will not find a place to live. People when see you as 8 kids or 7 kids and say, oh my God, we don't want these people in here, they destroy our house, they do this, that. Not only this, not even sometimes difficult. And then the expense itself. And on average, and you can't lock children, you won't find, obviously I don't think they have bedroom apartments in more than maximum 3 bedrooms in an apartment. I think maximum, I'm not sure. But I think maximum. But say even if you have 4 bedrooms.
The norm is 2 bedrooms.
And then you have 8 kids. They don't allow, I don't know whether the law changed, but I remember
they don't allow
days, they don't allow you certain number of people in certain apartment. You have to change it. And you have 3 kids, you have to have
even in houses, not apartments.
That's it. Then comes the houses themselves. Houses are very expensive. And things are going, real estate is going really, it's amazing. I said that in the old good days, in the 70s when we came here, I remember there is this Charles Street, it's a graduate residence. Actually 2 buildings were leased from Bank of Montreal, Montreal Trust to the University of Toronto. The apartment, 1-bedroom apartment, $120.
That's
2-bedroom apartments, $232. I remember it to this day. Now each apartment is $1,700 and so on. So it became practically impossible. Now even houses, many people who come from the Gulf now, they go and rent their house, say $5,000. Right? They are paying $60,000 every year. In 5 years, you run nuts. You don't have any money. Now the third, there's another thing too. That in this country, things are very vulnerable. It's not like our country that you get a job all your life, you live until you go to the grave. Here, you can be fired anytime. So you go and get entangled in rent, then you have this, then you have that, then you are out of a job. Now, naturally, you'll be thrown out of the place that many reasons why. You can look at so many things. Fine. Because of this, and then the house becomes the only investment people have. Because the only thing that I would call it, houses are what is called low risk, low return investments. And you buy a house, naturally there is a capital gain. Although it's a little minimum, whatever it is, but over the years you have it, you can increase money. And then even the house that you buy, it takes a long time to clear if you are going on mortgage and so on. So it's going to be a drain. Fine. So for all these reasons, actually, you need to have a house. This is the stability, place you can find comfort and so on. And then even saving the money. This is why even some people, you know that there are fatwas now that says even you can go and buy houses for mortgages because these are necessities. Fine. If we can, and many people don't want that. Like even today, by the way, I was on the phone with this brother and he kept telling me, I went through all of this housing, they are not 100%. I said, if you are looking for 100% Islamic investment, forget about it. There is, these are itihadat. I mean, they're the injunction that people have and so on. Anyway, so finally I said to him, listen, this is what is available. You can't have it and then you live with it for that purpose.
Although I know some of this, but we have to explain this so that everyone knows about it. Some people would say, why are interest mortgages and Islamic mortgages similar in cost? So then,
Sometimes I even say them or similar. They say it's more. They
Yeah.
say if you go for Islamic finance, you go on more.
definitely here is more. Yeah.
Now, well, it's not that because it is more. It is because of the nature of the finances and the nature of the dealings. Most of the Islamic dealings are based on musharaka. Musharaka means me and you, khalas, put money together. And even there are question marks about but let give you the
Yeah,
simple
let me
form.
simple. Yeah, exactly.
Simple
Let's keep
form.
it simple.
Say, to give you figures and make it easier for people. Assume, Hisham, you have $20,000 in your pocket, and I have $80,000. Right? طبعا I call it the dream house because there's no dream house for $100,000. But let's dream about it.
Yeah.
Say there is a house in the market for $100,000. Me and you want to do business, just sheer basic business. You come and tell me, why don't you put our hands together, put our money together, go in business. Now, the second step is what kind of business? Tell me now, the housing market is good. Let's buy a house, rent it for somebody. Now, what we are going to benefit is three things from this house. Number one, we will own the house in the same ratio, 80-20. Number two, that we are going to have some capital gain for the house. Number three, we are going to have rent so long as we own this house together.
Yep.
Now, I'm going to add number four now, that if you want to live in this house, you have a fourth thing, because you will be living in the same house, although there's question marks about whether you can have rent and so on. These fiqh issues, we leave them aside. But let me make it simple, and this is the simplest form of the housing corporation. We bought this house, say for instance, roughly for $100,000. I say I call it dream because there's no house now for $100,000. Assume we agreed to put a rent for it. And there's a formula whereby you work rent and people agree. So we agreed that the rent for this house is $1,200 a month. Fine. We have two scenarios. One, we have a third party who's renting the house. Two, we have you to sit in the house. Let's go for the first scenario. Assume Safe rented the house from us. All what has Safe to do with us is that every month Safe will come to me and you give us $1,200, and that's all. What his relationship is the relationship of this rent.
Tenant.
Exactly. So he has nothing to do with the house, and he can live for as long as he wants to. Then when the money to come to me and you, will sit down and say the following. One, first thing, let us just the wasiyah, بعد وصية توصونا بها أو دين. First thing, we take the expenses.
Yeah.
Taxes, insurance, and so on. Assume for simplicity that totals $200. So we take that out. We net $1,000. That net $1,000 is the profit from renting this house to him. Keep in mind three things. One, we still own the house together, whether it's capital gains or loss over time. Two, that this profit that comes to us, we'll share it in the same ratio. You get 20%, I get 80% of it. Now, also the same thing if there is proper, the same ratio we do in the expenses. Yeah. So now, that's formula. So we might be owning this house for maybe 5 years. So after 5 years, you decide to go back home. And then you said, okay, we want to sell the house. That house we bought for $100,000 could be more or less. So you're going to get 20% of that price. And the same thing for me. Now, that's the first formula. It's still, when we sell the house, that is, we have it. Right? And there is also, by the way, in Islam, there is a concept which is called shufa. Some people use it with shufa or shafa, which means the partner has the right to buy it.
To buy first.
So if I decided to go and say to you, listen, I'm going to go back, you have the choice. Either we put this house in the market and see what price it brings, and then you take the 20% of yours, and I take the 80%, or you buy it out, or one of it do it. It's simple. This is what we say scenario A. And it's a very simple formula. That's 100 pence Islamic. It's business, it's just time. The other scenario, which is also, there are some people who raise questions about it, is when you become an owner of certain part of it, and at the same time, you become a tenant. But you can't be a tenant. Say, for instance, now, Hisham said, okay, leave Safe out of this. I want to live in the house. So what you do basically is the same. At the end of every month, you take $1,200 from your money, give me my share, which is $800, and you keep the 200, and the two will go for the expenses of the house. Now, the only difference here is that this ratio of 20 to 80 is not fixed. It's open for you. يعني every month it gets some money, may Allah open you for, and this happens to us, all of us.
Yeah.
We start from zero, our children graduated, have more money, then something happens, Allah might open a door for you, never know. Then you want to buy back that amount of money that you have. And in the housing corporations, all of this start with this. Start 20%, then it start varying this ratio. And everything goes like what we call a domino effect. يعني, if you have 20, now you have more. So you want to make it 30 to 70. Naturally, your share of the
profit
becomes higher, less. And it goes in this one until it diminishes to zero and then go out of the house. There is another question which is there is who holds the title? We can all get zero. This is why now the housing corporation now they say, some of them say we'll hold it until you clear it. Some say we jointly hold it. And in any formula. All of this, as I keep repeating, ijtihad.
Okay.
People
Oh, mashallah, alhamdulillah.